Alone at the gala, she revealed her hidden identity. An incredible life-changing twist awaits. Emma stood in the corner of the opulent gala, her heart pounding under the weight of jeweled dresses swishing around her. She was a mere waitress in a sea of wealth, serving plates of gourmet marvels to patrons who chatted like everything was easy and carefree. The aroma of truffle oil wafted past her nose, a stark contrast to the simple meals shared in the home she grew up in, where every family dinner was a testament to resilience. The glimmering chandeliers felt like mocking stars against her humble background. This wasn't where she belonged, yet here she was. Memories of her late father's honorable service flooded her mind. He had fought for a country that now felt unreachable. As she served drinks, laughter ricocheted around her, and the words, "American Dream," echoed painfully. What was it like to live that dream? Each comment about the struggle and triumph cut deep, planting doubt in her chest. Did they even know what sacrifice meant? Suddenly, fate whispered in her ear. Through a twist of circumstance, a high-profile donor mistook her for a guest and beckoned her to join a discussion. The spotlight hit her, and for a moment, her heart raced not with fear, but with adrenaline. Could this be her moment? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a shaky breath, Emma took the stage, feeling the weight of every judgmental gaze lingering on her. She hesitated, then allowed her heart to spill out. She spoke of the struggles faced by veterans of families like hers, who fought for every opportunity, their voices often silenced beneath the giants of privilege. Emma's words turned the gala into a tapestry of raw emotion, each stitched with truth. But not everyone was on board. Bobbing heads turned to whispers, some faces pinched with disbelief. "Who is she?" one woman sneered. "Just another face hiding behind a fragile dream." Her chest tightened at the accusation, sapping her confidence. But she pressed on, her voice gaining strength. Emma challenged their views, igniting a clash of ideals in the grand ballroom. As she stood her ground, waves of emotion rolled through the room. Eyes softened, some filled with tears while others grew hard as stone. Emma's pulse quickened. She sought connection, desperately wanting to bridge the chasm between their worlds. Was she truly just a ghost in their extravagant life, or could she bring a shimmer of clarity to their gilded ignorance? And just when she thought she had set the stage ablaze, the distinct voice of a distinguished guest cut through the noise. "Are you really the voice of hope, or just another face hiding behind a fragile dream?" The question hung in the air, thick with tension. Emma froze, her heart racing. That single question threatened to shatter everything she stood for. Did she have the strength to redefine not just herself, but the reality of those watching? The battle was far from over. Uncertainty loomed like a storm cloud, casting shadows over her newfound identity. Emma's heart dropped at the daunting question, the weight of it bearing down like a lead blanket. 1,000 eyes pierced through her, each judging, questioning, and calculating. She took a deep breath, her chest rising with the need to prove herself. "Fragile?" she echoed, her voice steadier than she felt. "You think my dream is fragile?" She looked directly at the woman who spoke. Eyes narrowed, brows furrowed like she cared about nothing other than her bubble of affluence. "Do you know what it means to have to fight for something? For every chance, every opportunity? Do you know what it means to have nothing?" Murmurs rolled through the crowd, a mixture of surprise and curiosity. The room felt electric, heavy with possibility. She could feel it, those poised like statues beginning to shift, their expressions teetering on the edge of awakening. "I stand here today not as a face you don't know, but as a voice for those who have been silenced," Emma continued, a fire igniting within her. For the single mothers working 2 jobs, for the veterans struggling to make ends meet, for families like mine who've learned to survive by the skin of their teeth. A few people nodded. Others crossed their arms defensively. Emma felt the conflict within the room. A contrast of sorrow and stubborn resistance. Your lives aren't the only ones that matter, she pressed on, feeling the pulse of her own courage. You've been blessed with privilege, and yes, it's something to be thankful for. But don't forget the struggle that lies outside your glittering walls. Don't forget those who sacrificed so much so you could sit at this lavish banquet. The applause came as a shock, slow at first, tentative. Then it swelled into something real as several guests clapped, moved by her words. But Emma noticed how the applause didn't come from everyone. There were still skeptical glances, still challenging whispers. She pressed on against the lingering opposition, trying to bridge the divide. But it was the voice of a man from the back, deep and resonant, that caught her attention next. And what do you propose we do, Emma? Simply write a check and forget about it? His derisive tone hung like a lead balloon. It's easy to criticize when you don't understand our lives. Emma's heart thudded against her ribs. The challenge felt personal, igniting a fierce determination in her belly. It's not just money that's needed, she countered. It's understanding. It's listening. Her words flowed with unexpected fluidity, each syllable driven by hope. The gap is wider than it looks. Instead of just giving, why not engage? Stand beside us, walk with us in the ugly, messy parts of life. At that moment, something shifted. More hands began to clap, the sound merging with her heartbeat. She felt the room vibrate with understanding, more eyes softening, more heads nodding. Yet, still, doubt lurked beneath the surface. Emma could see it, the hesitation on some faces, the guarded walls still standing tall. She knew this wasn't over. Just as she began to feel the tide turning, her eyes caught sight of someone in the back. A figure in a tuxedo, a familiar face from her past. Was that really him? Had he come for her? Her breath caught. The rhythm of the applause faded as shock settled into silence. Could this man hold the key to her past, or would he pull the rug from under her feet just as her moment began to take flight? As the gala held its breath, Emma felt her heart race anew. The ballroom felt suspended, as if time itself was stretching. Emma's gaze remained locked on the man in the back, his expression unreadable. She could barely register the applause fading away, the hum of conversation stalling, as if the universe had conspired to freeze her every thought. Ethan. The name slipped through her lips like a whisper, just audible enough to send a ripple through the crowd. Ethan, the boy she had known, the boy who had become a man, molded by life's harsh realities, just as she had. The years weighed heavy on her shoulders, mixed with memories of laughter, of innocence lost. And yet here he was, clad in elegance, standing with an air of sophistication that felt foreign to her. She blinked rapidly, her heart a chaotic drum in her chest. Could he really be here, interested in her words, or was it just a cruel twist of fate that conjured his presence? Who is he? A voice from somewhere in the audience broke through the silence, dragging Emma back into the moment. She could feel the eyes on her again, searching for answers. Why is he here? Ignoring the chatter around her, Emma stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins. He's part of my story, she declared, voice rising with unexpected strength. He knows what it means to struggle and rise again. And if we really want change, if we want to bridge this divide, then we must face those we've left behind. Ethan took a step forward, his eyes steady on hers. They were deeper now, shadows lurking behind them that told of unspoken burdens. Emma felt a small surge of hope, a longing for understanding, for connection. Maybe he had come here with answers, or maybe he was as lost as she felt in that moment. His voice cut through the tension. You don't get to decide who we leave behind, he countered, his demeanor calm but firm. You make it sound so simple. But what you're asking, it's not just that easy. A wave of murmurs rose once more, the crowd caught between intrigue and skepticism. Some nodded in agreement with Ethan, others leaned into Emma's fire, desperate for change. This was the crux of it, the clash of hope against cynicism, and here, at center stage, was her chance. "I know it's not easy," Emma shot back, her words fueled by urgency. "But it's worth it. Don't you understand? All of us here are capable of making a difference. We can create a bridge that connects those living in shadows with the light. Together, we can find solutions." The crowd began to stir, the momentum shifting once more. More people were rising to their feet, questioning their own beliefs, their own place in this narrative. She saw a middle-aged woman tearing up, a young man's thumb pressed against his chin as he contemplatively felt the weight of her passion. Could they take that leap with her? Emma locked eyes with Ethan. There was a flicker of familiarity, a shared history that spoke of countless unmentioned struggles. In this moment of reckoning, his face softened, perhaps recognizing the girl from their past who had always fought for dreams, for understanding. "Join me," she urged him quietly, and the words seemed to wrap around the tension that hung heavily in the room. "We have the power to shape what happens next." Ethan's brow furrowed, as he weighed the seriousness of her invitation. The seconds stretched, the world around them receding, until he finally took a tentative step forward, drawing closer in defiance of the audience. As their eyes met, Emma felt the tremor of possibility in the air, the kind of stirring that felt like the dawn after a long, dark night. But would he choose this path with her, or would the weight of the past throw them back into silence? The applause ceased once more, replaced by an anxious stillness, breath held in anticipation for what would come next. The moment seemed to stretch indefinitely, hearts racing, breaths caught. Ethan stared at Emma, his expression flickering between doubt and yearning. A collective hush fell, the anticipation in the air thick enough to cut. "Emma, you know," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "this isn't just about us. This is bigger than that." She could see the struggle within him. Memories of shared dreams, laughter, and secrets surfaced, but so did the reality of their lives now. "I know it's bigger, Ethan. But we can't let fear hold us back. I can't do this without you. We can reach those who need to hear our message." As the words left her lips, everything else faded. The chandeliers sparkled, the elegantly dressed crowd flickered in and out of focus. It was just the two of them, standing on the precipice of something that could change everything. Ethan's hand twitched as if it wanted to reach out, but he hesitated. "You don't understand what I've faced. The choices I've made." His voice cracked slightly, revealing vulnerability he rarely showed. "I may not understand completely, but I've faced my own battles too," Emma pleaded, her gaze unwavering. "Every struggle, every moment of doubt, those are the stories we need to share. That's how we connect. That's how we find hope." Slowly, some people in the audience began to nod, captivated by her passion. A woman in a crisp white suit stepped forward, her eyes bright with realization. "She's right. We're all fighting our own battles. This is what we need to hear." The crowd began to respond, murmurs of agreement rippling through the room. For the first time that night, Emma felt a sense of unity building. Yet, Ethan remained lost in thought, looking down as if wrestling with inner demons. "Just take my hand," Emma urged gently, "let us do this together. If we can inspire just one person tonight, it's worth it." He seemed to consider her words. The light around them dimmed as the atmosphere shifted from dark doubt to a light of hope. With a deep breath, Ethan stepped closer, tightening his tie nervously. "What if I can't live up to what you want from me?" he asked, vulnerability etched in his features. Emma shook her head. "It's not about living up to anyone's expectations. It's about authenticity, about laying bare our truths and embracing our past, all of it. If we can find strength in our stories, maybe others will too." Ethan's eyes searched hers again, and Emma felt a flicker of something more, a connection that surged deep beneath the surface. Slowly, he extended his hand, and Emma's heart surged. Then, as their fingers brushed, a loud crash erupted from the other side of the ballroom. A glass shattered, drawing eyes away from their tender exchange. The crowd gasped as a figure burst through the entrance, looking frantic, shouting for help. Someone's collapsed. We need a doctor. Emma's heart sank as she and Ethan turned toward the commotion. All thoughts of connection vanished, replaced by urgency and fear. It was a reminder of the fragility of life, of how quickly everything could change. What should we do? Ethan asked, his earlier tension diverted into action. She looked back at him, that same fire igniting in her eyes once more. We help. We reach out. As they sprinted toward the chaos, the sound of voices mingled with the rising panic in the air. The room that felt electric with possibility moments before now buzzed with an urgent call to action. But as they responded, Emma knew this was only the beginning. They had opened their hearts, but would the moment define them, or would they find a way to rise above once more? As the crowd swirled around them, a weight settled in Emma's stomach. Would they rise to the occasion together, or would circumstances pull them apart once again? Amid the chaos, Emma felt her pulse quicken. She and Ethan pushed through the crowd, now a thrumming mass of concern and curiosity. The faint smell of perfume mingled with the underlying scent of fear, filling the air with a sharp intensity. As they neared the center of the commotion, the sight took her breath away. A man lay motionless on the floor, his face pale, eyes closed. A smattering of guests hovered, some on their phones, calling for help, while others looked lost as they tried to comprehend what was unfolding. Emma quickly knelt beside him, her instincts kicking into gear. She had only taken a first aid course, but this was not the time to hesitate. Stay back. Emma called out, shooing onlookers away. We need space. Ethan, can you help me? We might need to check for a pulse. Ethan dropped to the floor beside her, shaking off the last remnants of uncertainty. He mirrored her actions, fingers gently probing the man's wrist. They exchanged glances, fear creeping back in as Ethan's face paled. I think I feel it, he murmured, brows knitted together. But it's faint. What do we do? Call for a medic. Emma shouted, the urgency in her voice echoing through the growing crowd. Tell them we need an ambulance now. He nodded, scrambling to get to his feet and weaving through the onlookers. Emma turned her attention back to the man, noticing a faint tremor coursing through him. It reminded her of the frailty of life, the moments that pass unnoticed until they shatter everything around you. She focused on his breathing, checking for signs of distress. Come on, hang in there, she urged softly, wrapping her hands around his wrist. Help is coming. The seconds ticked away painfully. Emma felt the weight of the world crashing down. This was not how the evening was supposed to unfold. Just moments ago, she and Ethan were on the brink of sharing their truths, finding strength in vulnerability. Now it was as if fate had conspired to pull them in a different direction. A few people emerged from the crowd, shock etched on their faces. A woman in a dark blue dress stepped forward, shaking. She was visibly shaken. What happened? Is he going to be okay? Emma looked up, her heart racing. I don't know. We need to wait for help. The room seemed to vibrate with tension. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was a pivotal moment, not just for the man on the floor but for her and Ethan as well. These uncertainties, the pain, and the very real fear of loss, could easily drown out what they had just begun to build together. Ethan reappeared with 2 paramedics in tow, urgency lighting up his features. He stepped aside as they quickly assessed the man's condition. Emma felt a relief wash over her, only to be replaced with a new wave of anxiety. Is he going to make it? She asked the paramedic as they began administering care, focusing on the man's chest and breathing. We're going to do our best, one of them replied, eyes focused. Just keep everyone back, please. As the medics worked, Emma felt Ethan's presence at her side again. His nervous energy was palpable. It was almost as if the room's overwhelming emotions began to anchor into something stronger between them. Emma, earlier he started hesitantly, but his voice was drowned out by the bustling crowd. Emma turned to him, desperate for a moment amid the chaos. This is what it means to reach out. Not just to each other, but to everyone who needs support. Even here, even now. We need to be present. His eyes flickered with understanding, the gravity of the moment sinking in. No matter what happens here, we will face this together. The moment hung between them, full of promise, but still rooted in uncertainty. Just then, the paramedics managed to stabilize the man, but the tension didn't lift. As they wheeled him away, Emma realized how resilient people could be. Her heart swelled with hope, and she turned to Ethan. We need to share our stories. Our struggles can inspire others. We can't wait any longer. Ethan nodded, determination stretching across his features. Let us make it happen. But behind them, the crowd's murmurs began again, and a voice broke through. This isn't just about one person. This is about us all. Emma's heart sped up again, sensing something monumental swirling in the air. She glanced at Ethan, who mirrored her widened eyes. What if this leads us to something bigger? He muttered, fear and excitement battling within him. What lay ahead seemed uncertain, but one thing was clear: they were on the precipice of a journey not just for themselves, but for everyone searching for hope. And as they prepared to reveal their truth, it dawned on Emma that the real challenge was just beginning. Would they discover their true selves while reaching others, or would the shadows of doubt haunt their steps? Emma's breath came in quick bursts, the aftermath of adrenaline leaving her shaky and unsure. The crowd began to disperse, murmurs fading into a low hum as the paramedics wheeled the man away. She and Ethan stood side by side, their hearts pounding in sync, weighed down by the collective fear that had just washed over them. What now? Ethan asked, his voice barely a whisper, as if he feared to break the fragile silence that remained. Emma glanced at him, her mind racing. We start by sharing what we feel. Everyone needs to hear it to know they're not alone. His eyes sparked with renewed energy. Right. We can do this. Feeling an unexpected sense of resolve, Emma stepped forward, drawing the attention of onlookers who had returned to their conversations. Can I have everyone's attention, please? A hush fell over the crowd as they turned their gazes toward her. Emma felt the weight of their expectant stares but pressed on, her voice steady. I know tonight has been chaotic and frightening. But we can't walk away from this moment unchanged. We owe it to ourselves to connect. To be real, to support one another. Ethan moved closer, visibly buoyed by her words. He stepped up beside her, his presence like a shield. We've all faced struggles small and large. This is a place for sharing those stories, a chance to show that vulnerability is strength. As more people leaned in, he continued, you may not think your pain matters, but it does. We can turn our fear into something powerful, something that rallies us together. The atmosphere shifted. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, filling the air with an electric energy. People began to nod, their expressions softening, realizing that this wasn't just about the man who had collapsed. It was about all of them and the emotional burdens they carried. Emma took a breath, feeling emboldened by the audience's fascination. I've felt afraid too. Afraid of revealing my fears, my struggles. But standing here, I realize how important it is to let that fear go. We all deserve connection, to know we're not alone. We're stronger when we face our battles together. A voice from the back called out, you're right. Life can feel so isolating. We need a safe space to share. Another person chimed in, I've been struggling with loss and it's been hard to talk about it. With each comment, a wave of vulnerability washed over the crowd. Stories began to emerge, unearthing tales of sorrow and hope, laughter and tears. Emma felt the emotional ties connecting them while Ethan's eyes searched hers, radiating gratitude and understanding. But as the atmosphere filled with warmth, Emma's heart sank. She knew this openness came with risks. The moments of shared pain were powerful, yet she was haunted by her own hidden truths. Would she have the courage to share her deepest struggles? Suddenly, from the periphery of the gathering, a familiar face emerged. Emma's breath caught in her throat. It was Mia, her college roommate, the one person she had avoided since an explosive fight years ago. Mia. Her voice came out half surprise, half worry. Mia's eyes flickered, landing on Emma, and a wave of emotion swept over her: nostalgia, regret, and the aching desire to reconcile. Emma, I heard everything. I had to come. Emma hesitated, unsure how this encounter would play out. The crowd began to shift, sensing the tension in the air. Mia stepped closer, a hint of vulnerability in her tone. Can we talk? It's been too long and I think we both need to say what has been left unsaid. Emma's heart raced, a mix of apprehension and a flicker of hope. The room felt charged, and the moment seemed pivotal. She glanced at Ethan, who silently encouraged her to embrace the confrontation. What would happen if they managed to lay their scars bare? The stage was set not just for a reunion, but for a transformation that could redefine her journey. Would Emma step into the light and confront her past, or let it linger in the shadows? As she took a breath to respond, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was the moment that would change everything. Emma's heart felt like it was racing at 100 miles an hour. The moment stretched, heavy with unspoken words and unresolved histories. Mia stood just a few feet away, her expression a mix of determination and vulnerability, as if she were standing in front of a crowded stage, ready to perform but unsure of her lines. Emma, Mia said again, softer this time. I know this is unexpected, and the last time we talked, well, it wasn't pretty. But we can't keep holding on to this. We owe it to ourselves. The words hung in the air, echoing loudly as the murmurs of the crowd dwindled to near silence. Emma felt the weight of every shared glance around them. They were all witnesses, holding their breath, waiting for her to unveil the truth weighing on her heart. Are you sure you want to talk now? Emma asked, her voice barely a whisper. She was scared of the feelings that were rising within her, a cocktail of anger and hurt mixed with a longing for connection. Mia nodded, a flicker of hope lighting her eyes. I came here tonight because I've seen how hard you've worked to share, to bring people together. I've felt lost without you. We were supposed to support each other, and I let anger get in the way. I miss you. Emma shifted uncomfortably, caught in the tangles of their past. They had once been inseparable roommates who had shared dreams and fears, laughing late into the night, but that had all changed when the argument had driven them apart. The silence that followed felt like a canyon, too wide to bridge. Can we talk later? Emma said, wanting to buy time, though she realized deep down that she was also terrified. Maybe when things settle down. Mia's voice had sharpened, a note of urgency cutting through the tension. What if there's no later? What if we keep delaying this? What will that cost us? The truth of her words washed over Emma, her defenses crumbling. She glanced quickly at Ethan, who stood nearby, his eyes encouraging her. He could see the internal battle raging within her, the pull between vulnerability and fear. I don't know how to start, Emma admitted, her voice trembling. Mia stepped closer, her expression softening. Just be honest. We both have things to say. It's time to stop pretending that everything's okay when it isn't. A voice from the crowd piped up. We're here for you, Emma. We want to hear you. The warmth from the audience enveloped her, igniting a glimmer of courage deep inside. Suddenly, Emma felt a fresh wave of resolve. This wasn't just about her and Mia. It was about the connection they shared, and the lessons learned through their pain could resonate with so many. Emma drew a deep breath, sensing the shift in energy surrounding her. Okay, she said, feeling the words come alive in her throat. I will talk. As she began to recount her feelings, emotions surged, each word freeing a piece of the heavy weight she'd been carrying. They spoke of regret, anger, and the pain of losing a friend, but also about the hope of rebuilding and healing. The crowd leaned in even closer, hanging on to her every word. It felt like they were all learning together, gathering healing through vulnerability. But as Emma opened up, she felt another shift in the air. Through the swirling emotions, she caught a glimpse of something unexpected behind Mia, a shadow moving through the crowd. It sent a shiver down her spine. Just beneath the surface of this moment, hidden truths were stirring, truths they hadn't even begun to uncover. Someone was watching, someone with a connection to Emma's story that could change everything. As Emma caught her breath, she wondered who it was. What secrets were poised to surface now that she had stepped into the light? Would she have the strength to face whatever was coming next? Emma's heart raced again, but this time it was not just from nerves. The shadow loomed larger, shifting amongst the crowd, catching glimpses of familiar yet unnamed eyes that stirred unease within her. But for now, the focus was on her, on the revelations she was finally ready to share. Tonight isn't just about me, she started, her voice gaining power with each phrase. It's about us. The love and the hurt, the promises we made as friends, and how easily they slipped away. She paused, searching Mia's eyes, trying to find the balance between expressing her pain and reaching out for forgiveness. The crowd remained silent, hanging on to each word, their faces a canvas of empathy and anticipation. She could feel their energy pulsing behind her like a steady drumbeat, urging her on. I remember the day we fought as if it was yesterday, Emma continued, remembering the sharpness of the words exchanged. I let pride and fear build a wall between us. I thought distancing myself would protect my heart, but all it did was create a void. She took a breath. I never realized how lonely I would feel without you. Mia's eyes glistened as she listened, her own unresolved feelings rising to the surface. Emma could see her struggling with vulnerability, yet it was clear they were both longing for a connection they had taken for granted. I know I'm not the only one who has lost, Mia, Emma said, her voice gaining strength. You felt it too. We both tried to act like everything was okay, but it wasn't. You deserved better from me. Just then, a rustle in the crowd pulled her attention again. The shadow had vanished, replaced by a stirring group of people who seemed to sense the shift in the atmosphere. Emma's heart sank slightly. Suddenly, she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned quickly, expecting Ethan, but found herself face to face with an elderly woman who looked familiar yet distant. Emma, the woman whispered, her voice tremulous, I need to speak to you. It's important. Emma's mind raced. Why did this stranger seem so familiar? Can you give us a moment? She asked the crowd, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. Sensing their curiosity yet respecting her need for privacy, they nodded and shifted slightly, but their attention remained fixed on the unfolding scene. I'm Emily, the woman said, her eyes flickering with a mix of urgency and fear. I've searched for you for so long. You don't know me, but I'm part of your story. There are things you need to understand, things that can change everything for you and for Mia. Emma felt her breath catch, uncertainty and confusion swirling within her. The connection to her past felt so tangible, and yet, she didn't know if she was ready for this unknown truth. Mia, wait, she called out, her voice raising just above the whisper of the crowd. Mia's face mirrored her shock, worry knitting her brow. What are you talking about? Mia stepped closer, protective and open at the same time. I need to find out what she is saying, Emma replied, staring deep into the woman's eyes, searching for reassurance. What are you hiding? Emily took a step closer, her expression fierce yet gentle. You have to trust me, Emma. The energy in the room shifted again, like a gust of wind before a storm. Emma felt the walls closing in, emotions flipping inside her stomach. She hadn't expected this. All her focus had been on Mia, on facing the past, but now she was being pulled into something larger, a mystery she hadn't anticipated. What if it's something you don't want to hear? Emma pressed. Then we'll face it together, Mia replied, reaching for Emma's hand. In that moment, Emma realized she was standing on the precipice of a deeper reality, one that could either shatter everything she knew or stitch the frayed edges of her heart back together. Whatever secrets lay ahead, Emma knew one thing for certain: nothing would ever be the same after this. And as Emily's lips prepared to unveil the unknown, Emma felt a shiver course through her. What exactly was waiting in the shadows behind her memories? Please, just tell me, Emma urged, her voice barely above a whisper. The crowd pulsed with tension, their gazes flitting between Emily and the two friends, eager for the revelation that hung in the air like a thick fog. Emily took a deep breath, the lines of her face deepening with worry. What I have to say, it's not just about you, Emma. It's about your family, your past, and even your future. Emma's heart hitched. Memories of her childhood flickered in her mind's eye, hazy images of laughter and warmth mixed with shadows of long-buried secrets. She gripped Mia's hand tightly, searching the crowd for familiar faces, for signs of support, even as confusion swirled within her. What do you mean? Emma pressed. What about my family? The secret was hidden to protect you, to protect everyone involved, Emily explained, her voice steady now, though laced with urgency. But it's time you learned about your real heritage. There's something powerful that connects you to me, something I've kept hidden for far too long. The crowd seemed to lean in, eager yet apprehensive, as if holding their collective breath. What is it? Just tell me. Emma felt the desperation clawing at her throat. The uncertainty weighed heavily on her and on her relationship with Mia, which she had only just begun to mend. Emily's gaze softened, but her demeanor remained fierce. Emma, you are not just the daughter of your parents. You are a part of something bigger. Something that involves destinies intertwining and an ancient legacy. What? Mia interjected, squeezing Emma's hand. What kind of legacy? The kind that has been hidden from you, things that were meant to stay buried but couldn't remain so forever. Your lineage, it's intertwined with mine. We're connected in ways you can't begin to imagine. Emma felt like the ground had crumbled beneath her feet. Words swirled, lost in a dizzying whirl of confusion. She looked at Mia, who mirrored her bewilderment. This can't be real, Emma muttered, trying to wrap her mind around the implications. What does any of this mean? That your life is about to change forever, Emma, Emily said, each word deliberate, the weight of her statement reverberating through the room. There are truths that will alter your understanding of everything, who you are, where you come from, and it can either break you or give you a purpose. Emma felt the air grow thick as memories and anxiety collided, each new thread weaving her tangled past further into this rudimentary truth. It was the moment she had been waiting for, but now that it was here, she felt unprepared, anxious about the unknown. Are you ready for this? Emily asked, her gaze piercing through Emma's haze of fear and uncertainty. As the question hung between them, Emma's heart thundered in her chest. She had worked so hard to uncover her own emotions, to bridge gaps with Mia, and now she was being asked to unveil another layer of herself. What if I'm not? She whispered, the choice weighing heavily on her, but the tiny spark of curiosity ignited within her. You can't go back, Emma, Emily's voice softened, blending the urgency with compassion. You're already part of this story, and now it's time to step into your truth. In that moment, with every eye in the crowd fixed upon her, Emma understood that this was the threshold of everything she had yearned to discover. The very thing that haunted her dreams was now a reality she had to confront. And as she stood there, caught between fear and the glimmer of something extraordinary, she knew that whatever lay ahead, it would redefine her entirely. What's my true identity? She finally asked, breathless with a mixture of dread and anticipation. Emily stepped forward, ready to reveal the hidden truth that would forever change the course of Emma's life. The crowd leaned in closer, breaths bated, and the weight of the moment hung heavily on the air, poised to unravel everything. Would Emma find the strength to embrace her past, or would she falter at the precipice of possibility? Your true identity, Emma, is connected to a legacy of bravery and sacrifice, Emily said, her voice steady yet warm, like a beacon in the darkness. Your grandfather was not just an ordinary soldier, he was part of an elite group that fought not only for freedom but also to protect something sacred, a treasure that holds our family's history and strength. Emma's mind raced. The weight of generations felt heavy on her shoulders. A treasure? She echoed, her voice thick with emotion. What do you mean? Emily continued, her eyes glistening with passion. Yes. Something that has been passed down through our line for decades. It's not just physical, it's a legacy of resilience, of standing up for those without a voice. Just like you're doing right now, Emma. The crowd shifted as the realization sank in. Emma was not just a waitress in a lavish gala, she was part of something profound, something bigger than herself. As she processed this life-altering information, she felt a rush of empowerment flare within her. Mia squeezed her hand tighter, a supporting presence as doubts mixed with exhilaration. This is unbelievable, she said, her voice barely a whisper as her eyes held the reflection of a new understanding. Emma turned to the crowd, seeing them not merely as glimmering silhouettes of privilege but as potential allies in her newfound mission. This is why we must share our voices, our stories. She declared, the energy in her rising. Each challenge we face connects us to those who came before us. We struggle together, and in that unity, we find strength. A wave of applause rolled through the ballroom, lifting her spirit higher. People began to resonate with her words, a chain reaction of hope igniting in their hearts. Thank you. Emma cried, her heart swelling. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for being willing to engage in these conversations. We are all fighting unique battles, but they don't have to divide us. We can learn from each other. Encouraged by the crowd's response, she addressed Emily. And what happens next? How do I claim this identity? Emily took a breath, her eyes softening. You gather those stories, Emma. You build that bridge between the worlds, the one you walked through tonight. You influence others to understand the strength that lies in vulnerability, the importance of collective support. Yes. Together, we can educate and empower, tearing down the walls of ignorance. Mia chimed in, her excitement bubbling over as she reflected Emma's own. As the warmth enveloped the crowd, Emma felt the solid embrace of a family once lost. Ethan stepped forward, his eyes bright with admiration. You're leading us all with your courage, Emma, reuniting us with our pasts while giving us a vision for the future. Emma beamed, her heart full. Tonight isn't just about me. It's about creating a better world for everyone. It's about remembering those who fought for us, understanding those still fighting today, and working together toward whatever lies ahead. With that, her gaze swept across the audience, each face reflecting a glimmer of transformation. She felt like a spark igniting a flame, her courage spreading to others, connecting them through shared narratives. Let us start tonight. She exclaimed. Let us share our stories, let us create spaces where we can connect, learn, and grow with a legacy of standing up for one another. The applause grew thunderous, and Emma closed her eyes for a moment, the sound washing over her an uplifting tsunami of acceptance, love, and genuine connection. With newfound purpose, she felt not just like a voice, but a leader in a movement dedicated to change. As the energy soared, Emily stepped back, a smile playing at her lips. You're ready. This is the beginning of your journey, Emma. In that moment, Emma felt a burst of joy, a radiant light shining within her heart. For the first time, she could see a future woven from her struggles, turned into strength, and bound together with the threads of countless others. Let us do this together. For everyone's sake. Emma shouted, her voice ringing with excitement. And as she prepared to turn this moment into action, she knew that together, they would pave the way for future generations. The Gala transformed, became a blossoming garden of hope, ambition, and connection. All she had longed for suddenly felt possible. "Remember this night," Emma called, seeing the wonder in everyone's eyes. "Not just for the lives we've changed, but for the journey we'll continue to undertake together." And as the crowd erupted in cheers, Emma felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. It was more than just a celebration, it was the dawning of a new legacy. So, what are you waiting for? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that can change lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find this powerful message. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of growth and connection. You need to support the channel, because the true changes start with all of us. Don't wait not even one more second to share.